Hello. How is everyone doing? I hope you guys are having a phenomenal Thursday. Hope you guys are doing well. Welcome. I am personally very excited for Dead Space. I'm not gonna lie, I've been excited for Dead Space for quite some time, and I was very sad when Visceral was obliterated. But looking into the little tidbits of like behind the scenes developer stuff that has been shown to us from team at Motive, I believe it's pronounced Motive. What's up, Faisal? Hope you're doing well, man. In terms of what they're showing, it kind of just it excites me. It excites me to see that there's stuff that is going. It has been a long time, man. It has been a ridiculously long time, if I'm 100% honest with you, man. But that being said, there's been like a lot of things, man, that have been kind of like coming and going and whatnot. What's up, Cameron? Dude, hope you're doing well, man. Hope life is good. Yeah, Onyx and I, we are in the midst of like having a kind of like consistent, what can I say? It's like we're always having like powwows, man. We're always like talking about like different things and like what to do with like the channel. What's up, Adrian? Hey, Adrian, thank you for joining us. I'm assuming you're having dinner yet again, so I hope you're doing well, man. What's up, Wesso? Hope you're doing well, dude. But yeah, no, so for those of you that follow us on Twitch, I was supposed to stream tonight, but I finished reading this book, and I want to talk about my thoughts on that book in a video that should be published tomorrow. I recorded a whole bunch of like B-roll earlier today before this happened, so I was trying to like do as much as I can. But in terms of this, man, everything that I've seen looks absolutely amazing. Super stoked for it. Oh, man. Thank you, Faisal. We are all doing well. My wife has COVID, which she's on the tail end. She told me this morning, like she's been taking like tests like constantly. So she's on like the tail end of it, based off of the little line. It isn't as strong as it has been the past couple of days, and she feels better, which is good. But just trying to strive, getting myself together for grad school, dude. Legit planning on doing stagehand stuff. For a couple of venues, dude. That's cool. It's 1 a.m. now. Midnight snacks are always good, Adrian. They're always good. But yeah, she's doing good. She's been trucking along, doing her thing. Being a single, like, it feels like I'm a single dad when I'm not, but it feels like it because I'm doing everything. And I don't know how single parents do it, man. Like, if you are a single parent, or if you had a single parent like growing up, like, kudos, man. Kudos. Yeah, man, I'm glad, Faisal. Not gonna lie. So art direction and everything like that, like I want to see like some more immersion stuff. I want to see what it is that they've been kind of like bringing in. I would love to see more like stuff that's like within the engine, so to speak, because if they're just going to show us like what they're showing us now in like this preview pre-stream reel where it's like, hey, here's like concept art that we've done, then that's going to be kind of like meh. I did, I don't know if you guys knew this or not, but I did hear that after, they showed off the audio of the plasma cutter and like the pulse rifle and like all that stuff, the community was like, dude, that sounds weird. It should have this, should have that, blah, blah, blah. And they readjusted it and they like updated it on the Twitter. Oh, Cameron, COVID sucks, man. It is by far one of the worst things in the world. I do not wish that on anyone. Especially if you have a kid. Yeah, dude, it's horrible. I do not recommend it for anyone. But thankfully, she's doing okay. I've been giving her vitamins and stuff. Ooh, I'm hearing everything. Sounds so good. The eerie sounds so good. Oh man, it's exciting. I hope that this like delivers in every like sense of the word, because like the Ishimura is like, oof, so good. What's up, Onyx? I was just talking about you. I was saying how like we have like powwows all the time, like trying to like see where we're gonna go forward with like the channel and whatnot. But anyways, I'm excited. Man. I'm excited for this. I'm excited to see what they're gonna show us and what we're gonna get to see. Indeed. always, man. Always. So let's see. Hopefully it's more than just concept art. Maybe they'll show off like models that they've worked on or like fleshed out and whatnot. No pun intended on that. Oh, The sound of necromorphs is so beautiful on a May afternoon. Here we go. Oh, dude, are they going to show a trailer? Okay, no, that's just the same stuff that we've seen the entire time since the beginning. I was like, whoa, they're gonna show new stuff. That's nice, but this is what we've already seen. Which, for those of you that came here looking for something that's like new, like myself, it's it's beautiful hearing it. It is beautiful. What are you talking about? Why haven't they shown a new trailer? Because they're literally building it as they go. I genuinely think that. I genuinely think that they're building it as things go. Onyx, are you a fan of Dead Space? I genuinely don't know. I know that I think we played 3. I don't know. I forgot. Do you think it was announced a bit early? Yeah, but not for the wrong reasons. Whoa.
Bonjour à tous. Welcome everyone. Thank you for listening to this third.
Is audio off sync on your end?
Space. I'm with Roman Campos Oliveira, creative director. Hello everyone. Mike Yezijan, art director. I'm for content for Dead Space today. More. The art direction of the original Dead Space was extremely strong. It had a distinctive visual signature that helped.
Audio is busted on their end. Let me see, because I got the stream on my end.
We'll start off our presentation today with Mike talking about the visual pillars and how it's used as the foundation for the game. Then we'll move at looking at assets that was created by our team through videos that explain how we use these visual pillars.
No, it's fine. I just got to refresh my shit. Let me go ahead and refresh it then, because that is no bueno. Let me go ahead and take that and refresh. There we go.
And
much better.
Just like last time, so we're going to wrap all of this up with some in-game look at one of their more iconic rooms of the issue.
Audio is fine though. You guys can hear it,
that
right?
room's going to turn on, so it's going to be pretty amazing. All right, just like past live streams, there is a disclaimer. We are still pre-alpha, so mainly what it means is that the content that you'll see is going to be uneven in terms of quality. There's going to be assets showcasing gems from the
Audio's fine.
Straight out.
Hey, Rain. Dead Space does need Galaxy Trico.
That's normal for the stage of the project.
That's for sure.
We're in.
There's going to be some amazing stuff.
So there's also going to be some pretty amazing stuff. Hopefully that you agree with us. However, we're progressing very well for our alpha deliverables. Just 2 weeks ago, we were able to do our first full walkthrough of the game where all content was present. And next week, we are going to do this with our community council.
Okay.
The community council, for those of you who don't know, is a group of passionate fans that have been with us since early in the conception of the project.
Right.
Providing feedback and getting undisclosed access to the game that we're making. And just like past live streams, we actually have a member of the community council that's here with us today.
That's
we
good.
have Blaine Smith from Banger TV joining us. Hey Blaine, how are you?
Good. Happy to be able to talk about some of this, and happy to be able to have
oh my god.
Sweet baseball tee from y'all featuring the Ishimura, although I am getting
metal comedy.
Watching how it fits Roma versus
That should be me. Never. Banger TV. Oh my god, man. Jesus. Jesus.
All right. Well, let's kick it off, right? Let's start.
Yeah, absolutely. So
yeah,
we're
bro,
talking
totally,
about
man.
art
Let's
today,
go.
Which, I mean, is definitely one of the strongest aspects of Dead Space, and of course, we have a fantastic guest from Motive here. We have an art director in the house, but I don't know if necessarily all of us will know exactly what an art director does. So, do you want to fill us in?
I'm assuming that they direct the
on
art.
what your work on the Dead Space game has been so far?
Am I correct in saying that? Oh, they have audio issues as well.
Okay, what's an art director? That's a good question. So what I usually do is
Thanks, Thorough Gamer. I try.
collaborate with Roman and Phil and the other directors and the leads on the project. I work very closely with the art team.
Hope you're doing well, by the way.
I provide them with guidelines to make sure that the visuals look unified across the game. and I maintain the artistic vision throughout the project to keep a consistent look in all our chapters. So I think that kind of summarizes.
His answer is much more elaborate than mine.
And from what I understand, this also actually isn't your first Dead Space game.
Oh.
Oh, we actually lost audio from Lane.
Oh no! Oh no!
You'll have to mind Billy, I guess.
Oh, that's no bueno.
Oh, you're gonna draw.
He is
That's
gonna,
pretty
he is
good.
gonna write it.
Oh God.
All right. Well, actually,
For the record, TGR is not in charge of the production in this thing. Are they part of our chat? Onyx, I swear, you and I, man.
That's great. So what we're going to do today is through various images and videos, we're going to show you how we're honoring the legacy and staying true to the original game. So what we want to do first is look at some of the art pillars. That
Pre-alpha
define
conversation with pre-alpha for pre-alpha
Dead Space
game.
So the first and most important one is horror storytelling. So even though the Dead Space universe is set hundreds of years in the future, the main art pillar is horror as opposed to
course.
sci-fi or fiction.
Of course.
Since it's so important to us, we really are like doubling down on that, and we just can't get enough. We need to talk
Two
more
slides,
about
right? Horror is
so the
a
lighting,
double
the
pillar
mood,
in
the
game.
atmosphere, the color palette of the locations are
They're
all
testing. Oh
affected
man,
by
this
the
is
color.
great.
I mean, it also influences the look of the necromorphs, gore, dismemberment, and corruption. And it goes as far as influencing the design of the weapons, right? Because they're based on power tools. So that kind of sums up the first pillar.
Of course, Rain.
The
We're
second
the ones
key
that
visual
invented
pillar
that.
Is one of immersion. So to be scared. you
Oh
have
my
to
God,
believe
that is so
what's in
good.
front of you. Just like in the original Dead Space, our goal is to always maintain a sense of immersion, to keep the
That's
player
good.
captivated.
That's
and
good.
the settings believable and grounded.
Talk to me more. Talk to me.
So the third pillar is a lived-in world. Now, since the Dead Space universe is rich in environmental storytelling, every object tells a story and has a meaning. So when you look around, you're in the Ishimura, you see the effects of aging and weathering.
Right.
Everywhere
So
you look.
I'm assuming rust and things like
Another
that,
key
and
thing
blood and
is
whatnot.
resource conservation, right? That is key in the universe, and all the objects are repurposed and reconfigured. So that's quite
Makes
important
sense.
to us. So those are the main three visual pillars of Dead Space.
it's not a new ship. It's been used.
Oh
it's
no,
been around.
exactly.
Yeah,
62
I mean,
years old.
it's interesting when you say
the
the lived-in world because
you see that.
what we've learned from this
So that's kind of
Lane,
being
I know you're talking, but we still can't hear you, so that's something that we're trying to resolve on our side. So
Oh my
actually,
God, guys.
One of the things that we're going to look at that follows it is actually there's a lot of symbolism, right? In
Right.
the original Dead
Dang.
Space.
Yes.
So let's have a look
Dang.
at what roles
I
it
feel for
plays
him. I really do.
in the art.
Because I've been there.
Absolutely. So there is a lot of symbolism in Dead Space, and I want to show you some of that and how it influences the look.
This
and
might be a shorter presentation because of that.
So, for example, we've talked about this on many occasions during community council before. The Ishimura is like a haunted house, and the design is influenced by the Gothic architecture with lots of evocative shapes. So that's quite prominent. The second one is how Ishimura is a character. It's a broken machine that is alive
Right.
and sick,
Right.
both physically and mentally, and the user interface is its voice. It sort of talks to us.
Cameron, literally audio issues, man.
Locations, they're purposely
Audio
built
issues
with
from
low
the
ceilings
guest.
and narrow spaces.
Banger
to
TV,
make
I think
you
it's
feel
what it is.
claustrophobic, like you're trapped inside. the
Oh,
maze.
dude.
We'll see later.
Starfield release is gonna come whenever.
Absolutely. Yes. And then lastly, the necromorphs, right? Since you're on a haunted ship, a haunted house, they're like the ghosts that haunt Isaac and torment him on his journey to hell, all the way to his final destination.
I like the symbolism behind it, but at the same time, I'm kind of like,
some of the key.
I take more literal approach towards it.
What we wanted to do next is, cover like now that we've covered the
Oh,
symbolism,
yeah.
we want to look at how
Always,
we're updating the
audio should
class
always be top tier,
by looking at visual
Agreed.
upgrades for the remake.
which is why I
So
ask if you
what
guys
we
can
could
hear
do is
everything.
Maybe play the video of the props and weapons. So in 2008,
Look at that
We are
2000.
directing
Oh my
a
God,
game
check
that
that
is
out.
Amazing for its time, and it's our commitment to respect their vision and rebuild on the same pillars.
Wow.
We're taking the original game and
Look at
building a
this.
Gen
You see
5
old stuff
version
and they enhance it.
keeping the recipe
Boom.
we know and love.
That's beautiful,
As you
man.
can see from these before and after examples, we're using the original art as a starting point as we redesign and remake the assets from the ground up. We're retaining the overall shape and look of these objects to respect the Dead Space art direction, and we're adding
I like
more
it.
functionality, layers of detail, and a lot more realistic materials. So as you can
That's
see
cool.
these examples of the before and afters, you see time and time again we're doing that.
Hopefully that'll help with like immersion and stuff. But like,
Yes.
I would love to see that play through.
One of our favorites. I know, Blaine, you love this one.
The Ripper, what it cuts people.
Oh, Sterile Gamer, that was their last stream, dude. Their last stream they focused on like the audio immersion and stuff, and like the technology behind it is actually freaking
Cool.
insane, man.
So
I am very, very
what
excited
I'd
for
like to
that
talk a
portion of it.
little about now is the part that we've all been waiting for, to show how we're creating our visuals in 4 in-depth videos. So the goal here
4
is
in-depth
to
videos.
seek
Yeah, 3D audio and
our
dual sets.
process
Woo!
by showing
Oh my
the
God,
progress
that would be so
after
hype.
software. So in the first video,
If they take full advantage of all that,
our
ooh.
team will take us
Amazing.
behind the scenes and show how our chapters are constructed.
Oh, for sure,
from
Sterile Gamer.
beginning
This is a
to
day
end.
one buy for me as well.
For the second video, the VFX team is going to follow up with some pyro and fluid simulations
Pyro.
in gyms and some quality upgrades.
Okay.
Next up, character team will present how they built the level 3 engineering suit. and of
The,
course,
I
the slasher.
I can't wait for them to get into detail
And in
with the
last
Daggermores.
video, the lighting team will walk us
Lighting.
through some of the cool tech behind the
Lighting is so-
in the
like,
game,
lighting's
including
important.
Real-time global illumination and volumetric lighting.
So a lot to come.
Oh yeah, there's a lot of goodies.
All right, well,
So-
let's kick it off with the environment video.
Yes.
Hi, my name is Roy Toison, and I'm
Hi.
the Associate Art Director for the Dead
Oh,
Space
nice
Remake.
camera. Dude,
Today,
it's
I
so
will talk
freaking
to
cool,
you
man.
about the environment art process, how we are remaking the game with our new tools, techniques, and pipelines, and finally do a demo in the Frostbite engine on how we took a room from the legacy version to our current work in progress. Today,
Okay.
we are going to look at the MRI room in Chapter 2.
Look at that frame
Dead
rate.
Space was
Oh,
released nearly
baby.
14 years ago, the visuals were great. It set the bar high for its time.
I agree.
Since then, technology has evolved, and with that, it allowed us to remake the game and really accentuate the main pillars of horror, immersion, and a lived-in world. Let me quickly go over our process with you. On the environment side, we break down our pipeline into 6 phases that go from L0 to L5. L0 is our R&D phase where we analyze the original game and identify
Makes sense.
what we can remake this area, either through gameplay, visuals, sound,
Okay.
etc. Based
Makes
off
sense,
these
makes
changes,
sense.
we would do some exploration concepts to improve on the art pillars. L1. This phase is when the area will be playable, with rough blockout of the visual intentions. When we
I kind of feel like I'm watching a
Frostbite,
GDC presentation right
artists
now.
will break it down into kits, pieces that they can use to build the room. Think of this as Lego blocks. They will be simple shapes, sizes that represent the theme of the room. L2 is where details and colors are added into the kits to support the thematic of the area. Large
Okay.
props are staged, and the initial mood will be set. L3
Yeah,
is where we
dude, it
start to
feels like
update
GDC,
and
man.
our materials to a more realistic look. Add more props to support the theme and refine the lighting and VFX. You should start to get that immersive feeling by having the area more relatable and
Ooh.
believable. L4
that in
is where
Chrome?
we add all the narrative elements. All the architectural kits get a polish pass with a wear and tear, small props, signs, markings,
What's up, Crystal?
bloodstains, dirt and grime.
Know that you are
add that
missed.
lived-in world feeling and give that horror storytelling element.
Oh man, this does feel like a
L5
GDC
is where
presentation.
polished elements
No,
of all
no.
the art
There's
departments
nothing.
integrated
When you
to
came
give
when
a
you came
final
here,
high-quality
it actually
next-gen
completely cut
Dead
it off.
Space look
We
and
had audio
This
before,
will be coming soon.
so me and Roman had
Just to
audio.
get a
Mike
proper
didn't.
understanding of where we are in the
It's a hot
production
mic.
area, we are here in the beginning stages of our L4 phase. Now that you know how we work, we want to next demonstrate how we will remake these assets. Here is an example of a legacy, and here are some of the elements we plan
Okay,
on
so
adding to get that immersive feeling throughout the ship. We want to show functionality, rivets in the metal to show how it was put together, latches on the window frames to show how the workers can remove it if it ever needed to be repaired. The variation in our PBR metal, the way light reacts to different types of painted metal, and raw metal underneath. More realistic light fixtures. The dirty glass cover protects the light source.
Dude, I love it. They were literally like, show the freaking video. We need to figure out what the heck is going on.
Depth to the model to give it that believable look. To get that old live-in ship look, we added wear and tear to the paint metal and dirt accumulation in areas that would not
Realistic
normally
presentation.
be.
I get it. I get it.
Now that we've highlighted a few examples of how we're going to remake an asset, in our next section, we want to put you in the seat of an artist and show you how our tools, techniques, and pipeline work.
Whoever is like in charge of audio is in deep poo poo. Poo poo choo.
And I'm going to give you a closer look at how we make assets for the Ishimura. Here is an example wall asset as it passes through all the various stages of production. L1, raw model.
L1.
Specific metrics.
Like, I love how they just like.
L2, further refined modeling and color paths added. L3, more modeling details are added, custom masks are baked to control grime and wear using in-engine tools. L4, fine trim and embedded details are added as well as beveled edges. Next, we will have a look in Maya to see how the
Maybe it was a showcase of the audio and conversations. Oh, Rain, the forever optimist, man.
On the right-hand side, we can see the UV coordinates of the model, which correspond to the mesh's faces. As I click the different swatches in the UV palette tool, the UV
I do
cells
like
show
this
different
this
quadrants
stuff like the
representing
tail end stuff. I know not
This
everyone's
analysis
interested
can
in it,
reveal
but I like seeing
colors
stuff like
consistent
this.
art direction and swapping
It's
different
shit that
color
like I
shaders for
would
each
never be
different
able to do.
technique, such as clean,
I tried
and color,
Blender and I was like,
depending on the assets used to
no.
build the ship. Now, let's dig into how some of our mesh details are achieved.
Photoshop I can handle
Blender, I'm
2D.
gonna show you one of
3D,
the
not so
texture
much.
Sets I made by rebuilding and remixing details from the original Dead Space into a new texture layout. As we can see, this texture set uses parallax occlusion mapping, which allows you to mimic depth and details on an otherwise very simple geometry.
Nice.
One technique we have explored for applying these texture sets on models is using the third-party add-on decal machine to define specific parts of the texture set to a library, which can then be easily swapped and adjusted on the
That's
model.
cool, I guess.
As you can see, this technique makes it fun to try out different trim combinations and can produce some interesting results. Here
But-
we will apply the same library to the wall example we saw before. Through use of these trim textures, we are able to quickly try different approaches and create consistent details. We try our best to focus
That's
on
cool.
how these models would actually be constructed, creating panel lines where pieces meet and connect, as well as adding handles and access points where parts could be removed for maintenance and cleaning.
Cool. And that's the final product.
Hi,
In-engine
Xavier
workflow.
Perrault, and I am the lead environment artist on the Dead Space
Okay,
Remake.
I thought that this was somebody else's
I
like
will be
audio
talking
leaking in.
more in the details about our approach to level art and how
Man,
we
this guy's
explore
quiet.
the different areas of the ship and tell the story
guys hear
of
him?
the Ishimura through our environments.
He's like mumbling.
We have now
I
the
like
architectural
coffee
modules
because
modeled
coffee is
and
good.
mask baked using our engine tool. The masks will define how the wear
Right?
will build up on each of the modules.
It's so quiet.
You can tell how the edges are scratched and how rust sits in the creases. The architectural shader reads those masks, and by tuning the parameters of the mask,
Dang though.
we can control the amount of wear and grime in a whole section of the ship at once.
I do like how
The
like
shader defines the ground state of the architecture.
oh, it's just gonna be good to play.
But at this point, it all looks the same everywhere.
Like the amount of
well-masked
lighting and
modules
stuff.
come in play. They are
Now
fully
everything changes.
scalable
Look at that
and
shit.
can be used in many ways for multiple layering effects. We can increase the amount of wear or rust built up on the assets, or
I want
even
that.
add new layers on top, like water or dust, for instance. Of course, these techniques are better applied once the assets are put in context.
I'm gonna turn this up just a little bit because I
Tuning the
cannot
master
hear
shader and
anything.
adding volumes of world masking are an integral part of defining the storytelling of the ship and how it
Okay.
has aged over time. With a growing library of architectural modules, they can be assembled to fully work all the sections of the
Oh my
Ishimura
God,
with
Sterile
one
Gamer.
big
Is this
blueprint
presentation in the L1
aligned with
phase?
parametric guidelines.
That's so good.
Then comes the
For audio design, no, I don't remember.
then comes the
Um,
main lighting intentions and the props dressing.
I do not remember.
We always ask ourselves what the function of that room is, how do we make it believable, and tell the story of the people that live there and how the events took place. Projected
Cool.
because of labeling and gore, our depth
Cool.
further, we can add a
I
few
like stuff like this.
romantic
That's cool.
themes
But
where
it's
down
not,
the
you know.
realistic way where people used to stand and walk around.
I just want to go back and see if
Maybe
they
a
fix
water
their audio.
canister fell over near that desk and leaked all over the floor. But that was a
Let me see if I can
while
find
ago,
out
and
what
rust built
audio
up
they
all around
had.
it.
After seeing our pipeline, tools, and in-engine
Oh.
demo, using the small
Look
room
at that
beside
frame
the
rate
MRI
drop,
machine, you can
like on
see
the
in this
original.
before and after comparison. We remade
Wow.
this room to accentuate the art pillars even more.
Yeah, totally
We
different.
want the player to believe that the Ishimura crew worked here, that the functionality of this room makes sense, and you can even imagine yourself working in
I mean,
this
to be honest with
environment.
you, the original did a good job of that
If
as
I
well.
take this part of the room,
But I
for
like
example,
having like more.
before there used to be some shelves, lockers, and props around the wall with some writing on the ground. We remade it to have more immersive and believable theme. We made this corner of the room more functional by adding
Right.
an examination bed with medical equipment. We gave that lived-in world by aging the walls and floors with some wear and tear, added dirt and grime. This is the oldest functioning mining ship. We wanted to make sure that came through in the environment. Finally, we injected the horror pillar into this room with a bloody narrative scene on the bed and floor. We want to insinuate that something horrible happened here and give that sense of danger looming around every corner. Thank you for joining us on this behind-the-scene look at the environment art process.
I agree. Sometimes more isn't better, which was why I was like, you know, in the original they did a good job.
All right.
Hey, we're back.
Hey, we're
So,
back.
Blaine, can we hear
The
you
mics are
now?
supposed
Do
to be
you
hot
hear
this
us?
time.
I hear you. Are
And
you
we
there?
hear you. All right.
Hey, we're back.
What's up,
Yay.
Got comms working. Nice. Now, Isaac, get to the engine room.
There's work to be done there.
Yes, it's the Ishimura, right?
You know, it wouldn't be Dead Space if everything was working smoothly. So, you know, this was just a little Easter egg for you in the chat. Thanks for coming out and catching the live stream, showing you that true Dead Space experience. And man, we in the
nice
council
save, I
got to
guess.
play a little bit of this early on, and that was a much emptier room when we walked into it. A lot less scary. It's really cool to see that. To keep with that horror pillar, you're creating these little scenes in rooms, these little stories. Is the story department working with the art department to like write
Yes.
little things like
Yes, absolutely. Our narrative group works with our level art group and make sure that they're collaborating on looking at every single chapter of the game, area by area, and coming up with little stories that they want to tell to make it feel like each area has life and there's a story, and just to show how the crew lived right before the events that you see in the game, and
That makes
of course
sense.
after the attack and so on. So there's a lot of work that's placed there by the team as they're crafting this.
It's a really collaborative effort.
Yes.
Narrative, level design, level art, audio, everybody is really involved into that. And not only we're looking at what we want to do, but also most of the time we're looking at what was in the original. And often we keep that and enhance it. Sometimes based on some evolution of the narrative that we want to make, we can slightly change or evolve those elements. But that's really our goal, is to keep that pillar of the original that was each room, each corridor, each places had something unique. Something you could remember that room or that place because of that sound, because of that writing on the wall, because of the blood of the little narrative in that
The
place.
blood.
That's something
I love
that
it.
we want to keep and
I
that we
love
want
it.
to reinforce going further.
Yeah, it's really great to hear about all the teams working together on this, and I love thinking about someone just walking around the office with an absolutely terrifying notebook of little rooms. Hey, 1C, what
Yes.
happened in 1C? Dear God.
Yes.
The jump scare.
That's funny.
Yes, pretty much.
That's
And
good.
That's one of the opportunities, like we saw in the video, is that we look at an area that existed before and how can we amp it up and enhance it, right? To kind of have a richer experience in the storytelling.
Makes sense. Makes sense.
And then one of the interesting things is that you guys are constantly talking about making things look realistic and usable. But of course, it's not realistic and usable. This is a planet-cracking mining ship. How do you approach making something look as though you can picture yourself using it and operating this when you can't actually, because it doesn't exist and you can't use it or operate it?
Yeah. Well, that's a big part of what we talked about originally. The horror pillar is making sure that it feels scary, but at the same time, it is relatable, right? So when you look at the locations, the props that are there, we intentionally make sure to keep them feeling realistic as possible, and not going too sci-fi, because if we do that, then it alienates the player and you don't really know and you can't relate to that environment. So we purposely
I guess that
make
makes
sure
sense.
that we continue in the same vein of keeping objects, whether it's the MRI room or fire extinguisher or chairs and so on, as real to us as possible, so we can relate to that and we can be immersed in the world. And then of course we'll be scared when we have like a necromorph that comes out of nowhere.
I guess that makes sense.
It's about making these places understandable for the player, that can project yourself in trying to imagine how those things work. Like if there's massive engine, okay, where's the console that control that? If it's the MRI, same thing. Where are the people actually working with those stuff? What are the tools they are using? Where are they sitting? All those kind of things. That's the elements that are making those places believable, even though a real spaceship does not necessarily exist, or at least not in this form.
It still has to be functional, right? So when we do concepts for these
That's
pieces
what
that are more
I'm
complicated,
thinking.
or the hero pieces, it is a lot the work that the concept teams are looking at. They're trying to make sure that this machine would work. How would it work so that it is functional when we put it in a game and it makes sense.
Yeah, it just seems like everybody on this team has to know a lot of different things.
It's about
But
the
you know, we've
passion
been
of
talking.
making it. That's
We've
the
been
thing.
talking a little bit. You know, we had some little explosions tech-wise. I think you guys also have some explosions to show us.
Oh yeah, that's a
That's a
good
nice
segue.
transition.
Wow.
Yeah.
Damn, but it's not the first time you do this.
Yeah.
Is it?
No.
So let's take a look at the VFX video.
Okay.
I'm Greg Herdrudder, and I'm the lead VFX artist on
Fog
Dead
smoke
Space
and
Remake.
pyrotechnics. Okay.
I'm going to show you
This is what
today
they talked
some
about earlier.
atmospheric and environmental VFX that have been created by our team. These are VFX such as fog, smoke, and pyrotechnics that help populate the Ishimura and help tell the Dead Space narrative. Now, before I show you what we're doing, let's take a look at the original Dead Space and what they did for their environmental VFX. They did an amazing job in setting a very desaturated color palette, with everything very muted.
True.
And everything feels very natural. Nothing feels fantastical or takes you out of that horror mood. For the remake, we wanted to stay true to this, but look for opportunities to push things further using modern day techniques. The original
Okay.
was quite limited in terms of complexity of VFX, while we have a lot more room to move. The first thing I'd like to show you is how some of our VFX can react to changing environmental conditions. So here we have a debug scene. And as you can see, it's pretty much empty with some sparks and drips.
I feel like, you
It's a
know,
pretty typical VFX that we'll see in a number of locations in the Ishimura to show damaged areas. What I'd like to show you is how these effects can react.
they
to
said that this
changing
is coming out in
conditions,
2023, if
and in
I'm not
this case,
mistaken.
what happens when gravity is disabled. I'm going to disable the gravity here. And right now we can see that these VFX are behaving differently, and they're no longer falling to the floor. Now there's a lot more happening than just the gravity. I can make a number of artistic choices as to how the VFX behave. For example, with the drips, I wanted to extend their lifetime so they spread out across the room rather than disappear quickly. For the sparks, I reduced their turbulent motion because when they had a lot of turbulence, it felt like they were still in normal conditions. There's a number of things that we can modify so that when the player interacts with these effects, they'll feel believable and well integrated. These little details can really add up to help tell the story and make the Ishimura feel like it's alive.
Okay.
Next, I'd like to show you a little bit about our pyrotechnics pipeline. I'm looking at one of our explosion effects. This is something we'd see when a small prop is getting destroyed. Here we have a bunch of different elements, like a fireball, smoke, sparks, and debris.
Cool.
I'll hide a few of these so we can concentrate just on the fire and smoke. I'll set this to loop so we can see it continually playing. Something that is important to Dead Space is that we have a lot of dark environments that have changing lighting conditions.
Right.
We were
Like
finding
any
that
horror
elements
game.
such as fire and explosions would look way too bright when the environment was dark, and then would be barely visible when the environment was brighter. So what we had to do was to be sure that our source pyro textures were rendered in full HDR quality to ensure that the final image would contain the full range of brightness values. I'll slow this down a bit so we can see things a bit more clearly. If I zoom in,
240 frames per
the exposure
second.
will adjust so it doesn't
Slow-mo,
appear
guys.
too blown out, and when I back off, it will readjust. If I change this to a darker environment,
This is cool
you'll see
and
that we
everything,
don't get a
but I would
crazy
love
amount
to
of
like
brightness,
see
and we're
all
still
this
able
come
to see
together
more detail
in
the
a
texture.
final presentation
And
of some
finally,
kind.
I'll go to pitch black.
Because
It
like
still holds up and behaves naturally. So this all means that we can play a lot with the lighting in our environments.
this is like a
The
small piece of
VFX
like a
will still
large
integrate
puzzle, you
into
know what I'm
the
saying? Like
experience
it's
well
not,
and be legible by the player.
this is like looking at
Final
one
thing I
piece
wanted to show
of
is our
asset,
interactive
or one
atmospheres.
asset out of everything.
So here I am in another test map. I have a few debug lights floating around so we can see what's happening here. I'll just back up and start one of our Steam effects. So what do we have here? It's a volume-based 3D simulation. It exists inside a container, and density and velocity values are pushed around to create what we see here.
Okay.
Something that's cool about this simulation is that
What happens
lives
if
in a
Isaac goes
physics
in?
world. So if the player walks through it, it will interact.
Okay, cool.
Also, if I pick up an object, like this battery, it will also behave quite naturally.
Oh, nice.
This will
That's
work
cool.
If I spawn an enemy, I disabled its AI. So it
Spawn
won't
an
attack me.
enemy.
As you can see, the steam will collide and interact with him too.
Oh, that's cool.
This effect also works quite well with our lighting and renders with the rest of the fog we have throughout our game.
Wow.
This can be
Okay,
used
that's
in
gonna
a
be
number of
cool.
cases.
I can see that
We can
getting like
create a
super creepy.
steam or smoke effect like this, or we can cover the floor with a thin layer of interactive fog. In some cases, we can even fill an entire room with a cool simulation like this to give us some interesting and terrifying gameplay situations. So
That
thanks for
Nevermore
watching.
looks insane.
I hope you enjoyed seeing some of the VFX we're working on.
Looks much better than it did in the last presentation.
Ooh, man, that fog when you first showed it to us.
Yeah,
oh,
dude.
Wow.
That
It
was
just-
freaking cool.
So I've never been so excited about fog in my life. It's crazy to think that, you know, one of the first truly great horror sci-fi movies, Alien, came out almost 40 years ago, and that scene where they step out into the eggs and there's that layer of fog that they disturb, and now we're finally 40 years later able to kind of do that kind of stuff in video games. How are you planning on using this in the gameplay?
So, of course, something we're going to use to create specific ambience in rooms, for the storytelling and those kind of elements. But in gameplay, where it's really amazing, it's in sequences like, for example, the decontamination chamber in Chapter 3. So when you enter that room, the decontamination sequence starts and the room fills with fog. And the fog stays at around 1 meter off the floor. And where it gets awesome, it's
1 meter is like
actually have a
roughly
rocker
like the height of
dropping
like a
from the
doorknob
ceiling.
on a door in the US, by the
now
way.
you see the poof of smoke when he gets inside it, and you're like, where the fuck, where is he gone? And you start to shoot at it, and you're trying to find it. And at some point, you see those 3 tentacles coming out of the fog, and those moments are really, really scary. And that's the kind of thing we're looking at with that technology. It's how we can use it to reinforce ambience and really scary gameplay moments like that.
Yeah, it's so cool to see all the. You keep bringing out all this technology, and it's not technology that's just, oh hey, we can do this now and we're doing it because we can do it. Everything really is tied
cool.
to like a narrative element. Every time you're like, we can do this, but here's why we're doing this. And another area that's getting such a huge upgrade is, you know, one of the challenges the original Dead Space had was 0G is very difficult to do, and obviously it was limited in a lot of ways. And then Dead Space 2, a bit more of the shackles came off, and then now up to current day, you know, you're having floating sparks and all the changes to the water and the vapor in 0G. Does it feel kind of like you have your shackles removed and you're kind of able to finally make the 0G experience you kind of dreamed of?
Yeah, it's really about immersion and the fantasy of being in space and how believable that is. And so that's one of the reasons we changed a little bit how the 0G is working in terms of player mechanic compared to the original. That's why we choose to,
Makes sense.
to go the same way as Dead Space 2 and 3 went with 0G. And now with VFX, with art, with physics, etc. It's about improving the immersion of zero G, and not only improving the immersion when you're in zero G, but also putting the emphasis at the moment where it changed from 1G to 0G. And that's something we're doing in some areas of the ship, and we wanted that to be really visible and kind of a wow moment for the players.
It's also giving us the opportunity to do all the things we've wanted to do with Dead Space. Now we get to do those things. We really get to enhance all those areas, bring more life to them, bring more immersion, and always dialing up the horror as well, right? And make it feel like it's a scary place. So.
Yeah, because with those elements, with immersion and interactivity, comes horror. Now, when that sparks of electricity hits and you see
what's the next game I'm going to be getting
on you, etc., it reinforces the potential jump scare moment.
I don't know, man.
It's not just audio.
I'm playing
and
Xenoblade
cool
Chronicles
music.
1 right now.
No, it really also has impacts on you, and
It's part of the physics system, so it reacts properly to whatever rules
After
we
Elden
have
Ring,
within
like,
the
I'm
game
kinda
with the
like,
character,
let me go
with
back.
the collision. So,
Baby,
like
go
Greg
back.
said in the video, that's what makes it so amazing and so embedded, and just enhances the immersion. For
Yeah,
every
I'm
element
kind
that
of in
we're
the same
adding.
boat. If I'm 100% honest with you,
anyone
man.
that's accidentally set themselves on
I haven't
fire
seen
with
anything
an
that I'm just
angle
like, yo,
grinder
like, I
while
have to
working in
get
the
this.
shop is gonna sparks into
Yeah.
That's what we're going for.
The emptiness of post ER. You should finish Persona 5 Onyx.
When people were noticing in that 0G, they were noticing some things about Isaac's suit, and I think we get to have a bit of a closer look at the changes that have been made to Isaac's suit coming up.
Yep, we're gonna get to see that in the next section, in fact. So let's take a look at the
Dude,
character,
this guy's like
video,
setting
so
them
we can
up,
see
and
what
like
technology
the
is
transition the devs are doing is so like, okay, now let us go.
The video.
Hello everyone, I'm Sam
Hey,
Compagnon,
bonjour.
and I'm the lead character artist on the Dead Space Remake. I'm here today to give you a sneak peek on how we created the Isaac Intermediate Engineer suit, the slasher, and talk about our artistic process and our tools. Before I get started, I'd like to warn you that I will be showing some graphic content. There will be blood
Go
and
ahead,
guts.
do judgment.
Well, everything that makes
I heard it
Dead
was
Space
good.
so lovely. Let's
That
start
mouse.
with Isaac Intermediate Engineer suit. During the early phase of our project, we took inspiration from the legacy model and we followed the rules that made Isaac's suit so iconic. Looking at the ribbing that is inspired by
Dang,
Gothic
dude.
architectures and human anatomy, the three lines on his helmet, and the overall layered look that reminds us this is a worker's outfit and not a military uniform.
Exactly.
This was the thinking we used as we redesigned the suit for our remake. We were tempted to go in a science fiction direction, but kept the suit design
Oh,
low-tech,
man.
dusty, dirty, and greasy. We kept in mind that the suit was produced by a greedy corporation like CEC and was built in an utilitarian way, with a
One
low
of the best games
production
on
cost.
PS3 era.
And so, here we are with the new design.
Dead Space was one of them,
Making it
in my
functional.
opinion. Metal Gear
As you can
Rising,
see,
oof,
we made
Metal Gear
sure
Rising
the
is good.
suit was airtight at the seams to make it feel believable. for
Metal Gear
use
Solid
in
4
outer
was
space.
amazing.
Here we are in ZBrush, where the character
MGS3
model
is still the
sculpted
best, in my
as if
opinion.
It was formed by digital clay. This is where we do most of our sculpting and where we spend most of our time creating the character. The head is worked in a separate file and in a different way, as it is based on of Gunner's Right's head scan. It is based on of Gunner's Right's head scan.
The level
and
of
come with all its
freaking
facial
detail,
expression.
holy crap.
The helmet is worked on separately as well because of the size of the file, as it tends to slow us down.
Yeah, of course.
As you can see here, we worked on the outside and inside of the helmet.
It's also rendering everything frame by frame as you like move it
Since
around.
you already saw Isaac in-game on the previous live stream, I will use this
Singularity.
time to take you on a tour of Substance Painter, which is a texturing
Oh yeah, I
software.
know, you're a big Yakuza guy. Been trying to get me to
There
play
are
it for like a
plenty of
while.
layer to get to the final result. It goes from the base of the fabric to the dirt and many metal variations.
Wow.
This is here as well that we add micro detail like fabrics and grain.
So I hope that as you
The
like
design of the
shoot
suit
down
was
necromorphs,
purposely kept
the
low
blood
cost.
like splatters
We also
on.
avoided rare material
That'd be
like
cool.
leather due to its rarity on Earth in the Dead Space universe.
I didn't play Lost Judgment, Star Gamer. Well, I don't know. I haven't played it. I haven't played
We
Judgment
used
either.
Instead, synthetic material and dull metal that oxidized quickly. We took as reference real-world
Oh, Rain's
miner
still
from
here.
the surveys. and like them, Dead Space Universe miners are given cheap outfit because company didn't equip them well and didn't care about their safety. Now that we've seen Isaac's suit,
Warning.
I'd like to show you a slasher
Graphic
since
content.
there is always one waiting around the corner, or busting out of a vent. We researched the legacy concept and model, taking note what made the slasher a memorable enemy, with its claw-shaped arm and deformed body. Not
So that was
only
how it looked
design
originally?
itself was important to our new slasher, but it was equally important to make it satisfying to dismember and peel away its layers. Here are some visual development on how we wanted to dismember the slasher from
Base
its
and
intact state
peeling.
to the fully destroyed one, with all the phases in between. Some peeling,
Dude,
dismemberment
I agree,
with hanging
Onyx.
parts, and finally
Look at
the
that.
fully dismembered version.
They're gonna have like oh man, that's gonna be cool. I wonder if he's gonna hop on one foot.
So, we started to think about the inside. This is the part that will be revealed when you shoot at the necromorphs. Naturally, we wanted to expose its internal organs since
Wow.
this was the base of our recipe. Then, show it bones, muscles, and fat.
Holy crap.
We didn't want it to see all the muscles, as it's only supposed to reveal a wounded part made by Isaac's tools. The next question we asked ourselves was, how could we build a system that fit most of the necromorph? Well, the solution was to cut it in pieces.
Yeah, they did. I agree,
As you can
Onyx.
see, all
This is
the
like what we
parts are
talked about with
separated.
Monster Hunter.
This way, we could use them
And
as we
during our
want,
sunbreak
like with
reaction.
The brute, which is made of 3 humans, we can easily kit batch its skeleton this way. All internal organs are also separated.
Oh,
This way,
that'd be
we
cool,
could use
serial
them as
gamer.
we wish. Now that we covered the inside of the slasher, let's see where we are with the outside. We sculpted it in ZBrush, thinking about how the skin stretched and tore as the
I mean-
grew up very quickly during a very painful transformation. The layering is important here, as well as what the open wound will reveal. We have the skin, fat, muscle, cartilage, bones, and we need to see and understand each part.
The little like mini arms that are like.
Now, I will jump straight into Painter. Just like for Isaac and all our model, we sculpted them in ZBrush. But here, the texturing and materials are more interesting.
Look at that shit.
First,
Just fucking
while
look
we
at
are
it.
currently only showing a single skin tone, since the Ishimura is crewed by humans from all corners of the galaxy, it makes sense that our slasher reflects a wide range of
I like it too, man.
ethnicity
I
defined
like the way that it's
You
set
will
up.
notice that we reduce the amount
It looks
of
really
color
good.
that's present before you start shooting at it to enhance the visual feedback of the peeling process. Finally, let me show you how we textured this little fellow, adding layers and layers of details to make it more realistic. We start with a plain color as base, and then we add some layers that will have an influence on the reflection, color, and
Wow.
wounds. We took
That,
care to
ladies and
think about
gentlemen,
how the wounded
It's
skin
how
will
art
look
is
like,
created in layers.
but yellowish when it's dried of blood. Then we added some more subtle details like veins, molds, and pimple. And to finish, let's add, well, you've already guessed what? Blood.
Blood.
Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed seeing the Isaac suit and the slasher work in progress.
The little fellow coming out of the abdomen. It's like.
You gotta
Onyx,
love
I just
that
wanna
even
hug.
in production of the game, you have to keep the parts of the necromorph separated. Otherwise, you'll have necromorphs running all over your computer. You won't be able to get
What's up,
anything
JD?
done in ZBrush.
Welcome to stream,
the
dude.
necromorph will
Yes.
be swiping at you.
You got to keep them separated, and then you got to
so,
keep adding more and more blood. That's the secret.
Yeah, more blood,
More,
more is more.
always more.
Always
the
more
secret
blood.
to
Want more
quantity, by
here.
the way.
Yeah.
It's,
That's the secret to good horror right there.
Yes, Zilla. That's how they call him in the team.
Yes,
More.
wants more all the time.
I need more.
Hey,
Never
hey,
satisfied.
We've got a saying over at Banger TV: less is not more is more, and love seeing that in a Dead Space game as well. I mean, the peeling effects, the ripping effects.
That's cool.
It seems subtle, but it's
exciting.
such a massive gameplay change when you try it out. The first time you hit a necromorph in the head and the face is gone and you're left with a skull, it's like it's an entirely new enemy.
this?
At what point in the development process did you kind of realize, hey, maybe we could do something like this?
Yeah, pretty early.
At the
It was
start.
quite early on.
It came almost at the beginning of the project. And
Oh, nice.
the idea was like, okay, so we were looking at elements that we could improve or enhance in the original. And of course, dismemberment, it's the pillar of Dead Space. It's in terms of gameplay, it's the main thing. So, in terms of precision, in the original, in Dead Space 2 and 3, it's already pretty precise. So we're like, okay, maybe we can go a bit more precise, but nah, it's not gonna add that extra.
Altamont Springs.
So that's
Not
where
bad.
we started to discuss. Okay, let's add the precision, not in terms of how you cut enemies, but in terms
Yeah,
of
I agree.
point of impact.
It's kind of
So
crazy.
that's where we started.
This is very unlike
Earlier
EA.
on, we did not call that.
But I think that like
actually
EA,
called
I would
body
like to
destruction
think that
because it
EA
was that
like
concept
saw what
that
happened with
we
Jedi
wanted
Fallen
to see
Order.
precisely the
and was
point
like,
of impact, and we wanted to see
maybe
pieces
we should
of
do more
enemies
stuff like that.
flying, and so give the
And
opportunity
just
to
do
the player to
single-player
really dig
adventure
up
games.
to the bone before starting to cut the necromorph. And so that's where we started, and iterating from here, that's where when we go, okay, so we need peeling layers with flesh, muscles, internal organs that can get blown out.
I mean, EA isn't renewing their thing with FIFA.
And the goal behind that was like, yes, of course, to make it more gruesome and stuff. But quickly on, we figured that we were also improving something really core to the gameplay, which is the feedback you have when you shoot an enemy. Because in Dead Space, in the original, you get a lot of good feedback when you're shooting an enemy with a cutting weapon, like with the
Right.
plasma cutter, you cut body parts, etc. You get a strong sense of, okay, how much damage I did. But when you're using the flamethrower, you're starting to burn the opponent. How much damage did you do? When you're using the force gun, you shoot at him, the necromorph goes on his ass, he stands up. Okay, how effective was that thing to the necromorph? Now you get a pretty good feeling, pretty strong feedback of that, because you see the flesh burning and then you start to see
I would
the
love to see that in real time.
etc. When you're using the
Or even
force gun,
like in one of those
you see- and
simulations
the guy
that they've
stands
been like
up,
doing that's like
and you see
pre-alpha
that
or
all
in
the flesh
development
is gone
footage or
and the
whatever,
muscle is gone,
development in
you know,
engine.
You can see the bones and the rib cage. You're like, yeah, okay.
Because he's explaining it.
I did some
It sounds cool,
Yeah.
but I want to
That's
see
really
it.
the goal here.
And there's a lot of research that we did also, looking at lots of gore and bloody stuff.
I don't want to see your internet history.
So they went the Naughty Dog route.
Yeah,
Okay.
just taking a couple of trips to the butcher
Yes.
shop, leaving with a big bag of organs.
Organs.
Sorry,
I
do you-
love it.
do you
Two
know where
like
a hardware store
completely
is? I need some
different points of view.
hammers.
The website is busted.
Yeah,
I
we're on the
believe it.
list somewhere.
Onyx.
So yeah, and we did a lot of exploration.
I was able to pull
early
it up on
We
my-
did- we really pushed it quite
on my
far. made it,
browser.
like, really bloody, really disgusting, and it was a lot of fun. But we also wanted to make sure that it was readable, that it didn't get too complex and too detailed, and it could still read in that environment. And I think we found a pretty good balance. So yeah, we're
Cool.
really psyched to
For the
show
IMAX
those,
tickets, yeah.
results today.
Yeah, and then just all the.
They're gonna watch it in
language
an IMAX
involved in
Onyx?
in
You
the
can like
remake
stream
of
from
Dead
your
Space
phone
is so
and just
great
stream
coming
your
out.
reaction as we
Honey,
watch stuff.
Good news, the budget approved body destruction.
Lots of glistening parts.
It's the expense reports that are hard to do, but that's, we manage.
That would be hilarious.
It's just such a little detail, but really kind of brings back to that lived-in world pillar you're talking about. Is a detail that just jumped out to me when you're saying it. You're going through Isaac's suit, and you're mentioning that there's no leather on it because cows are gone, and
That's
if
it.
you've got leather, you're pretty rich.
Exactly. We always have to factor that in, right? Even though we can do something, even though we have the tech, even though we could do that, it doesn't necessarily mean we should. We have to look at the narrative of the game, think of resource conservation.
70mm
and
for
always,
Summer
plan
Games
the
Fest. Oh
design with
yeah.
that in mind, and that's something that we did. Like early on, his suit had those leather parts, but we go, yeah, but it wouldn't really have that. So we went with a synthetic material that still, looks like it, but it has to be more accurate. So there's a lot of thought that's put into every single thing that you see on the suits to make it more functional, to make it more credible, more realistic.
That's the stuff that
But
we
as
as
always,
like gamers kind of like
respecting
take
the
advantage
original
sometimes, or at least
vision,
some of us do.
the art
I do,
direction,
for
and
instance.
being
I
true to
take that shit for granted all the fucking time.
I mean, and I'm sure cosplayers are going to thank you for the lack of use of leather, but they're going to be really mad when they find out that those,
Hey, my cat's
those
here.
little thrusters on his back that move as he's going around in zero G.
Sorry. It's fun in the game.
Good details.
Now, it's obviously really hard to follow up something like characters, and you've got lighting as the last, the kind of the big pillar to close out the show, and it might seem a little surprising to people, but I think when you show all the stuff you've done with lighting, they're gonna kind of really understand why we're going there.
Yes, yes. We have a really cool.
That would be cool.
lighting video
Now's the time to
show.
take over.
And
Listen
you're
to
gonna
Rain.
see
He's
the
our European
behind the scenes of how we're
representative.
making it, all the different light fixtures that are used, the color temperatures, the mood and feeling. So let's take a look at that.
Lighting is everything.
Hello,
It's
my
like,
name is Mike
to me,
Jones, and
in
I'm the lighting
horror,
lead here at
audio is like
Today, my teammates and I
top
are
tier.
going to talk about
Lighting is like the
lighting
next
in Dead
thing.
Space Remake. First of all, we're going to talk about how we are recreating the fantastic lighting design of Dead Space 1. We'll follow up with our lighting process and advances in real-time lighting. And lastly, we'll show you how we create an immersive sense of atmosphere, which is an important visual pillar for us. Dead Space had iconic design down to the last detail, and the lighting
Agreed.
fixtures weren't left out of this equation. They just felt unique and that they fit into the design of the ship perfectly.
Agreed.
We have reimagined the lighting design of the Ishimura and Valor, staying true to the originals while creating additional fixtures that fit into this established direction. The fixture design feels modern while the bulb technology feels grounded in the present day. We are creating the illusion of depth in our fixtures so you can see the inner workings of the bulb beyond the glass using
Cool.
emissive shaders with a parallax effect. The brightness of the fixture respects the intensities of their real-world counterparts, and our lighting system uses the surface area of our emissive surfaces to determine how bright the bulbs get. Our volumetric lighting creates realistic cones of light that are unique to each fixture design, so we get really interesting shards of light with a hint of color.
Okay.
Much like in the real world, we use Kelvin temperature to determine the hue of our lights, so once
Nice.
again they feel familiar to what you would expect in real life.
Cool.
Area lights were previously reserved mostly for cinematics due to their increased performance cost. We are using them more extensively.
Oh yeah,
in Dead
100%,
Space Remake,
Cameron.
as they help to create convincing specular
'Cause,
shapes,
like,
diffused lighting and shadows.
If you
and
have,
a more
it's
accurate volumetric shape.
it corresponds with like
Simply
just
put, they have lighting
immersion in
qualities
general.
that standard spotlights just can't achieve. Area lights make the most sense for rectangular-looking light fixtures such as signage. It would have been hard to reproduce the lighting.
But
for
even
these
more
types
so in
of
like
sources
horror
with more
setting.
punctual light.
Hi, my name is Mathieu Tétrault.
Real-time
I'm a senior
lighting.
lighting artist on Dead Space Remake.
Which I think
For
real-time lighting
artists,
overall is
I'm
like
able to
extremely
create
crucial.
lighting in real time and
Because if you have
control
moving
exactly how
things,
much indirect light
like you need to be able to let
illumination
things happen.
is bouncing around the scene. In previous game, we had to do offline calculation to pre-compute lighting and apply it to geometry in the form of light maps. This was time-consuming for artists and will limit any drastic lighting changes. Our remake
No.
is
This isn't the remake. This is the
real-time
the sequel.
approximation of indirect light. Artists can get direct feedback from the change and can better match the amazing concept art. Our tools allow lighting artists to visualize individual lighting passes and
Okay.
material properties, to isolate issues and iterate on quality. As each light is activated and dialed in, we can see the bounce lighting react in real time.
That's cool.
This approach was essential to ensure we can accommodate all drastic lighting changes that occur in real time in front
Yeah, I think that like the Dead Space community is there. It's just been, no pun intended, it's been dead for like ever, man. This is the remake, Cameron. I was just being a sarcastic guy against Rain. Because Rain is German. He's very sarcastic. Dry sense of humor.
Then we give an area a distinct character by changing the behavior and setting on each fixture instance. This allows each area to have its own signature mood, ambience, and level of horror. We focus on developing credible light behavior, such as flickering, that is specific to different type of light, from fluorescent to incandescence and halogen.
You're good,
Imagine a
man.
whole fluorescent light tube constantly flickering while trying to turn on.
Oh, of course, Rain. Of course.
In this video,
The EA Square Enix collaboration.
Behavior of different fixture technology, from fluorescent to incandescent.
Hi, I'm Guillaume Goudreau. I'm a lead
Atmosphere.
artist writer on Dead Space team. In game development, we often use fog to help simulate atmospheric perspective and add ambience to a level. It is used to communicate a sense of depth and detach.
Do you guys remember
of the background.
the moments, and I don't know if it was in Dead Space 1, maybe it was in Dead Space 2, where like all the lights like went out and all you had was the light that was emanating from Isaac's helmet. Dude, that was like utter like gold. I loved segments like that. I wonder how that'll play with like the fog and everything if they were to do it in this.
With our system, we can simulate a layered fog approach. We have control over the texture that move and shift inside of the fog.
Okay.
We can control the speed of the movement and detail in the texture. We can recreate a fog creeping along the floor. We have also control over the absorption. It gives the feeling of a thick, dense smoke that absorbs light.
What is it with a huge amount
Very
of
much
remakes
like
and
the smoke
remastered
that collect on the
games?
ceiling during
Oh
fire.
man, nostalgia, man.
We
Like
can also control the color of the fog. For
one
those
thing
moments
that
when we need a little
this
extra
man
push.
mentioned in this book
Second, we need a
was that he
convincing
saw
direction of the fog.
before he went to Nintendo, he was
Hiding in the fog
everybody that
immediately
was like in his group of
see
friends and colleagues was trying to convince
We
him
can
not to
easily
go
sculpt and tweak the shard of light
because
cutting
of
across the room.
people just didn't see money in it, but he
It
did.
really add a lot to a scene. We can go from the simplest environment
He
to
saw a
gloomy
future
looking
where people like
Lastly,
me
we need something
got
flexible.
jobs
Whenever
that
we have a
paid
big
money
change and we
enough
need
to
adjust the mood
buy
of the scene,
these things,
we
and there
can
would be more
animate
money in
and
the
adjust
gaming
the
industry.
environment fog. This is especially
Because the boomers
useful
weren't
when
gonna
we
get it.
transition from the inside of the USG
Um,
Ishimura to the outside.
But yeah, this is more of
We
like
will be able to
remakes
contrast
and things
the
like that are
heavy
more
ambience
tied
of
towards
our
people that
interior
want to
with
relive
a
that
complete
nostalgia.
lack of atmosphere
But
in
also
the outer
like there were
space.
software limitations and hardware limitations within previous generations that are,
Boy, oh man.
to quote the dude that's
can't-
up there,
I
like
can't believe there's some
y-
poor
you're
soul
essentially
on the Ishimura
unshackled
who has to
and you
inventory
can do
every
stuff.
single different type of light bulb
Very,
you
very
put in
cool
there.
that, you
I don't
know,
who has
people
a
can like
harder
go
job,
back and
Isaac
like
or the light bulb guy.
recreate
Poor guy.
or reimagine or maybe even go towards like a
It's
true
the future,
representation
so
of
energy
what
saving
the idea was that they
energy,
wanted to
like
go and do.
It's what is
It's very
needed
cool.
there.
I definitely want to open a node door and not have any treasure in there, just a wall full of different light bulbs, just racks and racks. So the thing about lighting, though, is
Yeah, Dead Space 3,
the stuff you've shown, the amazing stuff I've got.
Dead
to
Space
see,
3
it really seems like
definitely
the narrator in Dead
killed
Space
the
is
series,
lighting,
in my
and you're
opinion.
kind
Like,
of
he
using
killed
it
the
almost as a
franchise.
silent
And
character.
that wasn't because of Dead Space 3, it was because of
Yeah,
EA
absolutely.
wanting to
and
monetize
that's how
the
we're crafting,
God of it.
all of our scenes, right? Like we
Genuinely.
purposely will set the scene and making sure that the lights are placed in the right areas, and also as you saw in the video, there's different types of lights, light fixtures, temperatures, so that we can control and craft the experience that the player has in every area.
And we also use lighting.
Oh no,
to
Cameron! Like
direct the
it's
player
a
to
it's a
where we
business
want them to
decision,
go,
dude.
Either for objective or to where we
And I
want them
can
to
go
either for
way
objectives,
deep into that, but that's
also
a
sometimes
business
to
decision.
surprise
All these
the
remakes and
person,
all that,
either
it's
like,
business.
jump scare
It's
or
not
like drive the
like part of it's
the
passion,
tension up, just
but
playing with
a
expectations,
producer will not
expectations.
invest
That's
in
what
something if
lighting
there
is
isn't
used
an
for,
opportunity to
by
actually make
doing
money
that.
out of
It's
it.
Yeah, and I also noticed one really subtle thing about lighting is that one of the sparse few criticisms of the original game is that it was very brown, and it seems like there's a lot of use of light to kind of change mood, a little bit of color without going overboard. Because obviously, I mean, even just as something as subtle as going from a warm light to a cold light, and I went from looking like I'm in a cozy basement to like I'm ill, right? So yeah, all these little splashes of color that don't break the kind of drab, scary feeling,
Yes.
but kind of give you that little bit of visual breakup through it.
Exactly, yeah, and that's it. Like we still wanted to retain that horror pillar, like I said earlier, is that making sure that we don't, in an effort to add more diversity to all the different areas, we didn't want to, be too saturated, too colorful, but
Makes sense.
just have enough emotion and play with the intensity of the lights, so that we have more of that feeling.
Oh, dude, you're good.
In the different levels.
I don't think that's a video game thing. I think that's a business thing. And there's a lot of things that like people confuse the two very easily.
Right,
Like
you're on to me.
there's a lot of confusion between the two. At least I think so. I mean, I don't know. I don't work in the video game industry. I just, Onyx and I we run a channel on YouTube, and we've just been gaming since we were like little kids.
We'll be happy to hear how much fog work we're getting. What's the kind of difference between the two fogs and the one you kind of showed here? Where are you going to use that? How is that going to be applied?
But if you ever played the original Dead Space, you know that we had to work hard on the fog because there's a lot of those in the game. It's used a lot for.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
So that's why we.
But it's because of Onyx's beautiful face, the kachow,
one that is
as we like to call it.
Diffused that we use in bigger environment like Engine Room, Chapter 3, or this kind of environment, but that to create that depth and be able to have those different layers of lights and stuff. And one, like we talked before, really for specific moments, specific ambience where we want maybe smaller room with a bigger feel of being isolated.
God, my
and,
cat is like rubbing all over everything. She's like right next to a bunch of wires, so if things get weird, things get weird.
We'll be able to play a bit more with it.
And from what I understand, we might actually get to see some of that happening in dare I say in game.
Yes.
In game,
maybe.
Oh, finally!
Soon, maybe. I think we also have a little bit. We get we're getting a little collector's edition treatment here, where we've also got some pretty gorgeous concept.
Oh man, don't do that to me.
To get them
to get them extra dollar bills, man.
All on edge before we give a little gameplay.
Yes, absolutely. So what I wanted to do is I want to show some cool concept art of the engineering deck.
Dude.
But just very quickly before I do that, I want to take this moment to thank the art team for all their hard work. They're super
dollar bills, y'all. Yes, sir.
They put in a lot of hours, and there's a lot of love and care.
Trying to call my cat to like stay away from these wires.
We do justice to the original, and we honor it. So we're super fans ourselves, and we hope that comes through in the work that you're seeing today. So once again, thank you, team. So to kick it off, so here's the concept art of the fuel depot to show you how the pillars of horror, immersion, and
pillars of horror
all come
Freaking
together
love it, man.
in this industrial themed chapter. So I'm just going to quickly go through them. Here you could see the fuel storage concept. You could see the machine shop. And
nice.
Time and again, we're always applying
I'm
those
texting
same
my
rules
wife right now.
with lighting, VFX, fog,
Cool.
volumetrics. So this is the first concept of the machine room.
So this is
And
in
here's one more
game?
we love. Just you can see the suits hanging.
The suits on the rack.
Yeah.
Give me that.
Yeah.
I'll take one.
That's it. We're always thinking of how the crew would work and live on the Ishimura to make it, make it credible and lived in. And then the last two concepts I just wanted to show was of the engine room. So this is one of the most iconic areas in the Chapter 3 engineering deck. And so here it is in the off state. It's looking very dark. It's very ominous.
Perfect.
And here it is.
Just the way I like
on
it.
state. As you can see, we're dialing up the intensity by using color and light to show the visual progress and build emotion and bring this area to life.
So like we said at the start, we're still pre-alpha. However, what we're going to show right now...
They say that they're pre-alpha, man, but the stuff that they've been showing, like, I don't know.
Time polishing. Like if we
He
were
literally said
saying
that they went through like the entire game without like all the assets and all that, but he went through like, or the final assets, but he went through the entire game at the beginning of the presentation. So it's like, my assumption is that like the bare bones are done, and now it's just more of like creating and like, again, no pun intended, fleshing out what is left.
But it's getting closer.
I love referring to the footage we're about to see. They were not even the footage, the live gameplay we're about to see as pre-alpha. It's.
I want to see if this is actually pre-alpha. Like, a part of me does not believe it, man.
So it's in a specific state in the sense that all the AI got removed, etc. So it's really to showcase the environment. So if we can switch to the in-engine gameplay, please. you.
And then, of course, the goal with this is that we wanted to show all of you how, you know, we've crafted this story. You know, how
Dude.
all the different elements that
Hello,
we've shown.
my
during
name is
the
Mike.
presentation.
Okay.
We have the video of lights playing at the same time.
I'm like all into it. It's just like, hello.
Okay, there
And
we
there's
go.
some fantastic lighting.
Yeah, absolutely.
There we go.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
the
just like
engine.
we saw.
That
in
is very good
concept,
lighting.
it's
I mean, if I'm
dark,
100% honest
it's
with
really
you.
hard to see what's out there, and we do that on purpose to contribute to the fear of the unknown, right? You don't know
Oh
what's
my
back
God,
there.
man. This is going to be
We're
so
doing that on
freaking
purpose.
creepy.
But then there's just a little bit of life in there, just so that it's not completely dead scene. And then as we look above us, we see the massive.
I love it. I want to play it in.
Again, it makes us feel small and
like,
insignificant, right? It's looming.
3D audio, freaking dual sense support on an OLED TV. Mwah. Sign me up, man.
So
Sign
as
me
we're looking
freaking
around,
up.
We see all those effects that you saw earlier in gyms. Now you see it here, steam coming out of the pipes. There's some secondary animation.
Yeah, the animation definitely looks much better.
It gives life. You know, it communicates that this is an industrial thematic.
Look at all the blood everywhere.
And then we're always
So much
leading the
blood.
player with a little bit of horror storytelling, a little bit of narrative. We have the Maria
Yeah,
Studios,
yeah.
crates.
I love the masks on sign up there.
Yeah, yeah.
Quite thematic.
Safety first. Dead Space is a game about safety.
Nah, dude, this is perfect,
Okay.
like, material,
so in this
Cameron.
state, now
And like all that like noise, and then all of a sudden you'll hear like a necromorph coming in from the
So
back, like,
the
right,
entrance slowly
oh man, so freaking good.
rotate, a little bit of life to it.
Seriously, dude, look at all that. Oh man.
Lights, you can see the
You'll
blood.
have to speak up. We've booted up an engine.
Yeah, it's
Let's follow the blood trail then.
Let's do it.
Let's follow the blood trail.
It's always a good idea.
So good.
So
Let your
here we
tools
go.
do the
This is
talking.
iconic poster that we saw earlier.
You can see the different treatments.
Look at
on
the
blood,
lighting,
like
dude.
the one that is still
And like how
wet,
it's like,
blood that's got dried up on the side.
More is more. More types
More,
of blood.
more.
More blood states. More blood conditions.
Yeah. And then we finally get here.
this looks so good. Holy crap.
Can you activate the engines?
Turn it on.
Let's turn it. And we look up above us, and then we can see this glorious, VFX. The engine's fully operational. It's open. It's spinning at full speed. It's like a beating heart. The room has come to life. We have completed the transformation.
Dude. Wow.
And as we look to the right, we witness the scene of a horrific bloodbath, and yeah, some bad stuff happened there.
Again, just that great team.
Dude,
between
so
the
good.
artist and the story artist. Like,
Yes.
I mean, you can really you can guess what happened there.
Mm-hmm. And then we're back into darkness as we make our way down.
Back into darkness.
And then we take one last look
It's probably a health pack in that thing.
at the engine and then the smoke-filled room.
Wow.
And that's it.
Absolutely beautiful, man.
There's those sparks.
Yeah.
Gotta mention the sparks.
Today. We're gonna save some
That's it
stuff
for today.
later.
What a tease. What a tease. But holy crap, it looks so
Oh,
freaking
man,
good.
It's so.
Obviously, it's
you know,
pre-alpha,
like I
so
said,
when
you've
the
been-
entirety
you've
of the
been showing
game
a
and
lot
there's
of
enemies
these
that are in
demos,
there,
for a long
will
time
probably
now,
look
and
a little
seeing
tiny
that-
worse.
Seeing the improvement every time and just how amazing it's looking right now, I can't believe that's not like.
Especially
a
with, like, all the
finished
systems that are
product,
gonna
you
be
know? I can't
playing
believe
in,
there's
like,
more
the
work
back
you're
end.
gonna do in there. It seems impossible.
That's the reason why we usually send these guys on press tour. There's always more work, so at one point we send them, go away. It's not quite. There's not There's plenty of stuff to do yet. Oh, there's still plenty. More.
If they're talking to me, they can't be talking to anyone on the team. Tell them to put more stuff in the game.
That room is fully playable, guys.
Oh, yeah, I can't believe this game is still on already. Yeah, man.
For the reason of that stream, because we want to keep
That's what I'm saying.
some
Like, it looks
lots of
so
files for
well
later, but I think
done
we have some
that it's just
to say
like,
about that soon.
really?
But, yes, like we
But
said, we're pre-alpha.
2023, that's what
Game
they're
is
saying.
currently fully playable, and yes, that fight is fucking awesome.
Definitely. All right, well, I guess we're actually nearing the end of the stream. So, Lane, I want to thank you for being with us today to discuss, to ask your questions away. It was great having you.
Why am I not there?
Thank you for taking part. We're actually
I
going
want
to
to
see
talk
you
to
next week, right? So,
Yeah, see you in person. I'm gonna get a little hands-on action. I'm really excited. Thanks so much for including me.
That was definitely a PS3 controller.
Any opportunity I have to just
Oh, hey, it's a
gush
cat.
about this game, whether it's the first one or the work you're doing right now, I'll gladly take any I can. So
Great.
thanks so much.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Cool.
Roman, Mike, thanks a lot. It's always great to see all of this come together for you to take part of this. Mike, I know it was a lot of work for you, our team, to create all of these videos, to create this amazing playable level. So thank you. It is important.
It's always an honor to be able to show the artwork.
Oh, for sure. We're here standing and looking smart, but it's like the team that actually did all the
Yes.
work. So it's important to actually state that. I want to thank the team at Motive, everyone from the art, but everyone that works on the project, our internal EA partners, our external EA partners, the passion, the love, the hard work that you're putting in this game, it really shows. And I hope that everyone that's watching today actually can recognize all the care and
For
love that's
sure.
going into creating those nice slashers.
Little necromorph,
those nice
like
moments.
doll.
At this point, like I said early when you started the stream, we were able 2 weeks ago to do our first full walkthrough of the entire game. All
Right.
features, the chapter structure, some
Right.
novelties that we haven't yet talked about. It was all there for us to play. Our directors, Roman, Mike, everyone, the lead, the team, were able to exchange on, all right, well, what's next? How can we improve what we already have to be able to get an even higher quality game? From this, we're able to take all of these notes and plan the work that's ahead of us. Make sure that we have a smart way to tackle all of this to bring the game to a conclusion. So that's basically where we're at. So from a team perspective, we're going to put our head down and work towards the next objective that we have, which is going to be to do our gameplay reveal in October, let's say close to Halloween-ish. So that's going to be the next time where we're going to be
Right on the nose,
broadcasting
baby.
and talking about the game in a more substantial way. Also,
Take it easy,
we're-
Cameron. I'm
we're
about
actually
to,
in a
like,
position
dip
right now
once
to
this
be
is
able
done.
To say that, well, our release date of January 27, 2023 is kind of right around the corner. It's getting by really fast. We're getting there. And we're definitely looking forward to be able to put the game in the hands of players. So mark your calendars, tell your friends, make sure that they know that the game's coming, because we want this game to be a success. We love Dead Space, so hopefully you're able to get that word out.
And hopefully you love Dead Space.
Oh, hopefully you live what
Cool.
we make for the remake. So
Cool.
I guess that's a wrap. Thank you for watching the live stream. We're going to read comments. We're going to read the feedback that you have. Hopefully there's plenty. And we're more than happy to have shown you a slice of the game today. So thank you for your time.
Thank you very much, everyone.
Hope you enjoyed the show.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Cheers.
All right. Well, that, as they say, is that, ladies and gentlemen. And I loved what I saw. Let me just let me do this. I loved what I saw. Absolutely adored it. Thought it was freaking phenomenal. Thought it was beautiful. I would love to see a gameplay trailer, which they said is pretty much going to come out on Halloween. But I also wanted to kind of see how that would work visually as well as performance-wise, and kind of just see how their engine can handle it. Because right now, with what they showed us, there was no other necromorphs. Isaac was the only character that was moving within the room. Yes, there were visual effects that were happening, but aside from that, there really wasn't anything else that was happening. So I kind of want to see what happens when you throw necromorphs into it and you throw in much more variables into the equation, so to speak. They said that it was pre-alpha. Dude, that looks so polished and so well done that it's hard to think that, you know, it's not closer to beta than pre-alpha. But I'm not a developer. Don't take my word for it. Who the heck knows? But anyways, I'm genuinely excited for it. I cannot wait. January 2023 is what they're aiming at. I would love to get my hands on it, obviously. But let me know what you guys think. I unfortunately have to go ahead and head out. So I will see you guys on the next one. Until next time, guys. Peace.